All right, let's talk about something so many of us do every single morning without a second thought, making toast. We're going to dive into a super simple, real-world experiment that uncovers the hidden impact this breakfast staple really has on our bodies.
So let me ask you this directly. That warm, crispy slice of white bread you might have had this morning, have you ever stopped to think about what it's actually doing to your blood sugar levels? The answer, I promise you, is probably not what you expect.
So how do we figure this out? Well, we're not digging into some complicated scientific paper. Nope. We're following a personal experiment where someone just decided to test this out for themselves. It's a straightforward look at what happens right after you eat a couple of slices of white bread.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first experiment. The whole idea here is to set a baseline, to see what white bread does all on its own with no other factors in the way.
And the meal? It's almost ridiculously simple. Just 2 slices of regular old white bread toast, maybe with a little butter. That's it. A breakfast that millions of people have. But that simplicity is exactly what makes this whole thing so revealing.
All right, so the toast has been eaten. Time has passed. What do you think happened? A small, gentle little rise in blood sugar? Or something a bit more dramatic? Well, let's find out, because the numbers are in.
After just those 2 slices of toast, the test showed a surprisingly big jump. We're talking a really rapid spike from what seems like such a harmless meal.
The spike was 42 milligrams per deciliter. Now you might be thinking, is that a lot? And the answer is yeah. For such a small amount of food, that's considered a pretty high jump. It just goes to show you how fast your body can turn white bread into sugar.
And it's not just about the numbers. The person who did this experiment noted that not only was the spike high, but the meal itself, it wasn't even satisfying. So think about that. You get a big blood sugar spike, and you're probably going to be hungry again pretty soon. It's kind of a lose-lose.
Okay, so does this mean white bread is just a total lost cause? Should we just banish it from our kitchens? Well, not so fast. This brings us to the second experiment, which asks a really important question. Can we fix this? Can we actually change the outcome with one simple addition?
This time around, the test is repeated with one simple change. Along with those 2 slices of toast, we're just adding a source of protein, eggs. That's the only difference. And the result? Wow, the blood sugar spike was only 28 milligrams per deciliter. I mean, that is a massive difference. Just by adding some protein, the entire blood sugar response was slowed way down. Okay, so let's put this all together. This is where we get to the final lesson, the big takeaway. Because when you look at these 2 results right next to each other, the conclusion becomes crystal clear. I mean, just look at this chart. The story here is just so powerful. You can see that first bar for toast alone, shooting way up there to 42. But then look at the second bar, the toast with eggs. It's dramatically lower, down at 28. It's like the protein literally acted as a brake for that sugar rush.
So why does this happen? What's the science here? Well, it all comes down to what white bread is made of, refined flour, or maida. All the fiber has been stripped out, so your body digests it incredibly fast. It's almost like eating straight sugar. That's what causes that rapid spike. But when you add protein and fat from the eggs, you slow that whole process down.
So what's the big takeaway for you? Well, sure, you could choose a bread with more fiber, but even if you're sticking with white bread, the lesson is clear. Always add a source of protein and some healthy fat. You're turning a simple carb into a complete, balanced meal. And that brings us to the final thought. This whole thing isn't about never eating toast again, not at all. It's about being smarter about how we eat it. So the next time you're about to pop some bread in the toaster, just ask yourself, what powerful partner am I going to add to my plate to build a better, more balanced meal?